talk about, we got two excellent examples of this right here, is in sci-fi you often have stronger, younger characters, where in regular drama you don't get to see that. And in Caprica we're seeing some young characters that are dealing with a lot as well. What do you think about that?
I just gotta say, Ron Moore and David Icke, they're incredible about giving us women so much power.
Oh, yeah.
I need to do that.
Oh, totally, yeah. Like, strong female characters. I mean, even the one that I'm playing on Caprica.
Yeah, she's
strong in a different way, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So on the set, I have to wonder with a show like Caprica, it's so serious. So do you find that on the set to offset that, there's a lot of shenanigans, to use a word my mother might use? Is there a lot of joking around on set? Because these scenes are so intense. So I often wonder if in between takes, there's a lot of levity. Because I know even on Interspace, when we're discussing these serious things, in between takes we have to joke around. Is it the same on Caprica?
I don't know about you. There was a lot of really heavy stuff at certain chunks with Lacey that it was really exhausting, and not that I'm complaining because I love my job. It's just there's not a lot of room sometimes to play around. It's almost like you go and you work really hard and then you go home and you rest. But they're definitely around the last half of the season, all of us, I felt, got so comfortable, and there was a lot more room to just play. And we all knew each other, and we all knew our sense of humors. How was it on Battlestar?
For me, for Caprica, first of all, it's the same crew as it was for Battlestar. So when I walked on set, it was like, I'm home, same DP, same ADs.
I didn't even realize that, yeah.
Yeah, so it was so thank God I knew everybody that was there already. And for Battlestar, yeah, I think it just depends on the actor. Some actors, when they're in it, and you don't really want to...
You don't put a whoopee cushion under them.
Yeah.
Right? Feel bad.
And then somebody like Katie Sackhoff, she does a scene that's so intense, and then they say cut, and she's just crazy and happy.
Yeah.
But for me, when I shot that last episode where I died, I was depressed for 2 weeks.
It was heavy.
I mean, I couldn't get out of that. I wasn't faking it.
I
was really miserable, trust me, when I found out I was dying.
Not only do you have to do it, but you find out that your character is dying and going to be killed off the show. And you're like, really? Really?
Why couldn't you kill somebody else?
Yes.
Kill Starlock, right?
You were brought back on Caprica, the only person so far to have appeared on both shows.
I know, Ryan Robbins. Ryan Robbins got to.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Eddie lied to me. He said I was going to be the only Battlestar actor on Caprica.
Is it going to make you feel bad if I said there was one more? Who?
There's actually 8 of them.
In the last... Yeah, 8 of them. There's actually the final 10.
The final 10.
Final 10.
The original 10.
Random.
But when you were... After Battlestar Galactica ended, that was probably, as you say, very poignant with your character and the series ending. So what was your reaction when you found out that there was going to be this prequel-related series? And what was your reaction when you were cast?
Well, I was very excited about it. I knew it was going to be a hit because, Ron Moore and David Icke are geniuses. And I knew it was going to be the same crew, so I knew, the DP was going to be amazing. And the look of the show, I had really no idea what it was going to be about. And I didn't know I was going to be on the show at all. I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and I saw David Icke, and he was like, I'd really like to work with you again. And I was like, I'd really like to work with you too. And that was about the end of it. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call, and they're like, they want you on Caprica for a recurring role. And I was like, yes, that's awesome. Thank you. So it's an honor and a privilege to be part of this show as well.
Well, we're going to see the mid-season finale this evening, so we can't really talk about that episode. And
Come on, let's give them a play-by-play.
Sure, why don't we enact
We'll
the
let the scripts
episode
roll,
right
choose a character.
Hey, if you did that, a poison dart would inexplicably come down from the ceiling and knock you out.
But what can you give away about the second half of the season? What little things can you divulge for the audience who have come out of this?
People give birth to baby aliens, and...
Oh, wow, right.
Really?
You're sounding like the teasers.
Really?
Don't blog about that. That was a joke.
What can we give away about today's episode?
Nothing.
No, the second half of the season, or even tonight's episode.
You're gonna see Geminon, you're gonna see Toron.
Oh, that's where I'm from.
Are you from Toron or
Yeah, my
Geminon?
character's from Toron.
Toron.
Yeah.
What type of background is Toron? Is because Geminon's really tough and it's like...
She's from Toron. Oh gosh, I think she might be from Geminon. I don't know.
Geminon
I'm sure
is
someone
I
very-
gotta watch the episode.
Gemini's almost like ghetto, like rural.
She's probably from Gemini.
Gemini. I can see your character being from Gemini.
If it was me, I would be from Gemini because I'm pretty
tough and kick some butt.
grew up in the mean streets of T-Dot.
Oh, yeah.
T-Dot being Toron.
No, being Gemini. Being Dot.
There we go.
Gemini Dot? I don't know how to write that word. Gem Dot?
Gem Dot's
From
good.
Gem Dot.
That's nice. I like it. Was there a question in the crowd?
Yeah, there's another question.
Yeah, it's me again. It's more for Teddy and AJ. Sort of your opinion on something that I've noticed in science fiction that kind of bothers me that I'm seeing on Caprica, where different planets or colonies all have one identity. So where on Earth everyone is diverse, every country is diverse, but they seem to, and it's not just Caprica, it's science fiction, it's Star Trek. And
Yeah.
They go to a planet, everybody sort of looks the same. Maybe there are slightly racial diversity depending on who they cast, but there seems to be one culture, and I just wondered your opinion on that.
You can ask Teddy about this, but I rant about this all the time around the office. Little logic things in sci-fi sometimes get to me.
I say blame it on the
AJ
writers.
rants a lot. I find it interesting though because obviously, humans have grown up and there's been no other inhabited planets around, so we have diversity within our planet. But to me, it's not necessarily far off that if you were to have 12 habitable planets like you do in Caprica, that potentially there might be more of the potential for those planets to look more similar, to feel more similar in terms of culture and society, and that the diversity would be between the planets would be interplanet as opposed to intraplanet. So I don't know, and I think they do cover it a little bit in Caprica. Even you notice the pronunciation of the Toron names seem to be a bit different. Obviously on Gemini, they're very pious people. Caprica is much more of a consumer-based kind of place. I think it's supposed to represent North America, and then Toron is much more traditional. So I do find it interesting that perhaps if Earth was one of 12 inhabited planets, maybe you would see the same thing. But you're right, it certainly seems that on each of these planets, people tend to think and have similar outlooks. But
Teddy, I like your answer. Can I steal it?
you can totally see it.
Okay, I'm going to steal the answer.
It's actually a planted audience member. We wrote that together. But AJ, do you want to rant for a moment, or would either of the ladies like to rant about that?
Some thoughts on that one? I mean, I just simply share the statement that I think that, if we're all different on the planet, we have our own cultures here. But I think that it's interesting, this idea that perhaps humanity will reach a new level of culture in the coming years with the integration of Facebook and media. We can all connect and share ideas. An event happens, like Chile, we all knew about that immediately, and we're seeing pictures immediately. So in 100 years' time, in 200 years' time, the cultures that are so ingrained in their various locales around the world could all dissipate, and we could become this one collective and begin to think more alike. And if you notice, the growth of flash mobs, people all starting to think the same, the whole human race could eventually evolve into this one flash mob, exactly. And then we could really mess up a Walmart. Come on, this way.
The human race is a gigantic flash mob. That's amazing.
Any more questions from the crowd? Oh, we got a couple up front. Sure, the camera.
This is for both the ladies. Considering that you're both Canadian, what's it like filming in Vancouver?
I want to just reiterate the question for considering you're both.
Considering they're both Canadian, what's it like filming in Vancouver?
I'm originally from Vancouver. I grew up in Vancouver, so for me it's awesome because I literally can wake up and walk 5 minutes and go to work sometimes. And I used to always dream about getting a job and having to go to Los Angeles and work and, be in a warm location. But then I realized when you're working 7 months on a show, the idea of going home and resting in a place that you know and going to be able to go see your friends that night, there's nothing that beats that.
And seasons are nice too, right? It's nice to have seasons.
There's no seasons in Vancouver.
It's all rain.
It's rain.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up in Toronto. I went to theater school here, and then as soon as I was done theater school, I moved out to Vancouver. So my whole career started in Vancouver. But I love the city. There's amazing talent in Canada. I think Battlestar, 70% of the actors were Canadian.
Go Canada!
And our crews are so professional. They're the best crews, better than anything I've ever. I'm going to stop talking.
I know, because you don't want to.
But we've got really great people in Canada. We're really lucky. So when I shoot in Canada, I'm very happy.
That's cool.